If a client sends you their brand manual, then what should you do with it? If the client vehicles are similar to those described in the brand manual, everything is clear. But in general, most manuals tend to age quickly, particularly in terms of vehicles. New models come to the market frequently, and usually they are a bit different sizes than the model what was originally designed to brand manual. If your client wants to buy a new model, then the old design solution may fit, but what to do if client is buying a completely different model or a way more difficult body lines model? What to do then? Each design has its own specific points of attraction. Logo, text, contact information, design add-ons, and so on. If you can adapt them all to a new solution, it doesn't matter if it's a new model or a completely different type of vehicle. Let me show you an example. Initially, the client ordered a design for a small van, but over time he has purchased a large bus or van. There was no direct solution for a larger bus in the brand manual. Therefore, we were creating a new design. We first take the design to details. The photo, the red stripe company color with the text design training and the logo. Since the new surface is much bigger, we first lift all the details onto the bus and increase them, but not equally. The red stripe and text are actually much larger than the photo when compared to the same design on the small vehicle. But it is important to convey all the overall picture of the company. If you look at the design on the two vehicles that were made at different times, you immediately see that the vehicles belong to the same company. You recognize this because the general characteristics are the same. If you are creating a brand manual for a client, I recommend include a few specific sub-paragraphs. First of all, what classes of vehicles are included. When a client approaches us, we are usually told that they have, for example, 150 trucks, 100 vans or 25 minivans. However, those are usually just the vehicles that are on the job. But what about the office workers, the sales personnel, the management? Maybe they also use company cars, or maybe the board subsidies the use of personal vehicles. It should all be written down, and design solutions should be created for them as well, as each of them is a mobile marketing channel for the company. Yes, it is easier to just take a certain type of vehicle, create a solution for it, and call it a day. I have seen a lot of brand manuals, including for well-known companies, which are done relatively poorly, where our new design has been created based on a blueprint from an obsolete model, and the new vehicles are either twice as big or half the size. There have been also cases where different solutions haven't even been considered. For example, maybe they have their own electric scooters now or bicycles. These are all what can be put to the brand manual and used as company's messengers. So please consider them also. When you have done your designing solution, then write down printing codes, color codes. I have seen a lot of brand manuals where there are written down a Pantone code or RAL code, both of what have no use in sticker business. But for cutter design, find a suitable rolled pre-made color vinyl. Simply go and ask a vinyl colors palette and pick a correct color. Mark its manufacturer series and color code also to brand manual. For example, ask for 3M color scheme. You can see it's 3M, and there is also what series this is and also what the color code is. This is actually what is mutual to all the other manufacturers also. They have all their own codes, yes, but write it down. If you use a global brand vinyl manufacturer, then your company's car will get the same vinyl color taped also on the other side of the world. Different matter is text. I have been working with many global companies that have extended their operations into our region. The text solutions that come with the company have always been something of an issue. Usually a logo is created for the domestic market and it indicates their values using slogans that resonate. However, when you are expanded to a foreign market, most of those slogans lose their effect. Whether they are in their own language of the company's home country, usually English or German, or they bring out a message that really only says something to the company's own owners and the marketing managers in the home market. Messages such as importer of quality, caring for the more vulnerable, trusting peace of mind, doesn't say anything to the customer, especially if it's still in a foreign language. So why put those slogans to the vehicle at all if they don't convey the right message and are just there as design noise? The answer is because it's a part of the brand manual and somebody said that this is our slogan and it should be used like this. But is it useful on the vehicle or just information noise? Actually, nobody knows. If your marketing manager decided that this slogan must be for some reason and you cannot change their mind, then at least do it smarter. It would be much better to make a note in the brand manual that the local market should use a local translation. Even if it doesn't tell the viewer anything right away, at least it's in a local language, which is understood. At least the viewer can read the slogan when looking at your vehicle. It's not much, but at least it creates understanding. Your first step when starting to write a brand manual for a company's fleet is just a solution to maybe a small car and a van, maybe even a truck. That's it, usually, so far. I have heard some designers talking amongst them that they do it on purpose, as when client buys some type of new car, then he has to come back for the new job order. But I say, please don't do that. Ask what client wants and then exceed their expectations. For example, instead of those couple car versions, please create, for example, a passenger car, which includes city car, sedan, universal and SUV. Also minivan, medium van and large van. For all those versions, make it a no window version, with window version, with side doors, no side doors, 2 doors in the back and a hatch in the back. You never know what type of car your client will buy in the future. Also for the trucks, make it different versions, make it with side doors, make it without side doors, soft cover or with back doors or with back lift. And also put there some other vehicles like electric scooters, bicycle, Segway, for example. But wait, you have to do now not those only 4 versions, but in a total about 27 different versions. You're correct, but it gets even more difficult. Do you remember the vehicle graphic styles we've talked before? For different marketing needs, there are all the other versions of each. Please create also to those versions a information mediation, for example, office worker cars, product information type of design for sales staff, for mechanics, and branding version for large areas like, I don't know, logistics. So now you have already turned the amount of 27 versions to 81 versions, as you make 3 versions to every first mentioned 27 models. But it still doesn't end here. As the world has changed and economics can turn from good days to bad days quite instantly, COVID-19 showed this to us. So make your client also prepared for bad times. Create a B version of your design, or let's call it a light version. What is cheaper to create, but at the same time it will be recognizable companies' other visuals. Well, You can make a full another 81 versions, but I think for the light version, but I think just some design examples and guidelines for lighter versions is enough. This might look like an overkill, but put yourself in your client's shoes. You are paying to designer for a full package, but you get only few easy design options, and that's it. Wouldn't you want to have a lot more? Today you are designing a different 50 letterheads and pens and marks and count inches about how many of them should be for free space in the ad section. But do the vehicle section the honor of respecting it as much as any other marketing channel. Vehicle market deserves it. Okay, I admit the 162 versions are too much. Maybe only for a large global company who can afford it, as this type of amount of designing work is quite expensive job. Also, small companies simply doesn't need so much designs, at least not yet. But the point remains. In nowadays, designers do not give enough credit and attention to vehicle marketing as a marketing channel. Now we've got to harmonizing an ad campaign to a vehicle. This is actually reminds of a little bit of previous chapter. Every campaign has some design points what creates a recognition. Use those points to create an also vehicle ad solution option. Even if your campaign is on the web somewhere and taping it to your company's vehicles might give you an actually campaign acceleration effect. Those who see the campaign on the web will have recognition when they see your vehicle at the same time with same ad. Also, at the same time, vehicles attract new viewers to your campaign outside the internet. So let's make an example. You have a web campaign with the design details like yellow flower, purple logo and context, campaign text, and campaign's call to action slogan. So you take those details and you put them to your vehicle. Only thing what you will have to change is that you will not use all the text from the web campaign. You modify it to a sentence, one sentence campaign. 5 to 10 second rules, remember. Now you will tape it to the van and depending the campaign time and budget, you can have 3 different versions. Small, medium and large, as you see on the slide behind me. Small budget and short usage time means it's a short campaign, few days maybe, a week. So there is no need to make a big and expensive budget for that. If you have a large budget and a bit longer campaign, for a couple months maybe, then there is the point of creating the ad a bit more bigger and more visible. If your client has an unlimited budget or it's a long-term campaign, for example, buy a house and win your money back in maybe 6 months, then there is a point of doing this so large. I will give you one possible design solution more. Create a campaign area to your client's vehicle. Make it so that everybody understands that this is campaign area. So if they are your customers' wanted segment, then they will read it. In a while, they will start looking for this area every time they see your company's car. What's the campaign today? It will work if done properly. It's not used often, but I think the idea is good.